What is up, guys? It's OTG. Today on the Amigos, we're going to talk about the OG Xbox because I got my friends here, Golly and Damien, and we want to talk about the Xbox and the love that we have for it. Maybe somebody might have hate, and it's just nostalgic love, man, right now. It's retro, dude, and I don't care what anyone says. That's just been retro.
So y'all consider the Xbox retro?
Yes.
It's been retro.
Yes.
That shit came out
Dude,
in
it came out
2001, dude.
November. Think about it. November 15, 2001. It's
Sixth
2024, bro.
Sixth generation.
Sixth generation, yes.
It doesn't matter, dude. Okay. Did 9/11 happen a long time ago? Because it was somewhere around that time, dude.
Yeah, that's retro. 9/11 is retro history.
Yeah, 9/11 happened 2 months before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, what I want to talk about first, man, was the first time hearing about the Xbox. Because I remember back then, dude, I heard rumors that Microsoft was making their own console. And to take it back then, I remember getting on Google, looking up websites and stuff like that. But social media wasn't around, so we didn't have all these cool groups and stuff like this where we get spammed all this information. YouTube didn't exist back then, so you had to get your information from websites, gaming stores,
magazines,
all that information. And I heard rumors about it, but during that time, for me personally, I wasn't gaming that hard. And I remember seeing like the pre-orders for it, and I was like, holy shit. The rumors are true. Microsoft is coming out with an Xbox. And I remember hearing that name too. And like I said, I wasn't that hardcore into gaming. I kind of was in like a serious relationship at that time. And dude, when I saw what it looked like, it was so futuristic to me.
Yeah, it was.
It was the ugliest console at that time. It was.
No,
dude, I don't think you remember, Damien, taking it back then, like seeing the pre-orders and like seeing the way it looked. It was just a black console.
The way that Xbox, like the X was exploding out the fucking controller. Like, that aesthetic was sick, bro. I don't care.
Yeah, I considered it ugly for the time because 2001. I mean, the console was ahead of its time too, but I consider the console ugly. It was one of the ugliest consoles.
You know what, Damien? To take it back now, isn't it true that you weren't playing games during 2001?
Yeah. I was a dad. Living in the hospital.
So you weren't really gaming back then. You weren't hardcore. Yeah. I think maybe you might not have the nostalgia during that time.
I don't have the nostalgia like y'all. I don't.
Right.
I'm kind of like a rookie still when it comes to the OG Xbox. I did see it back in the day, but I just didn't have time to play it.
You see, what I remember was all the talk about it, that Microsoft was going to come in and compete and they were going to dominate. Like, that's what all the hype was with the friends. This was
that's what got me.
Yeah.
As a kid, because I wasn't a PC gamer. I just played Roller Coaster Tycoon. I played fucking Unreal Tournament and like Doom. That was it. Like, I played a couple games, but I remember like hearing like, oh shit, the guys that make Windows is making a game console?
Yes.
Oh shit. I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna play Unreal Tournament, I'm gonna be playing Roller Coaster Tycoon on a console. And then like I remember reading, I don't remember the magazine, it feels like Tech Insider or something with tech, and they showed the specs, and I was like, dude, this is, at the time, I was like, this is stronger than my computer. Holy shit. And computers were expensive back then. And I think Xbox was $299 when it came out.
Yes, retail $299.
You see,
retail at $299.
I was PC gaming during that time too, on a little shitty PC.
Yeah, like this little home computer. Yeah, it was. But that computer was expensive. I bet you that computer was expensive back then.
Yeah, you know what? I think I had just like started making my own money. It was just like a gateway, and I got a deal on it. To me, it was expensive because I bought it with my own money. But I was just buying like cheap little CD ROM disc over there at an EB Games or whatever, and that's how I was gaming. So I remember like when the PS2 hit, dude, and I was in trade school, and it was around this time, and it was before, if I remember correctly, right? It came out before the Xbox.
2000.
Right during the same time, right?
That was a
Uh,
year.
A year
no, it
before?
was
All right.
PS2 came out in 2000, somewhere around 2000,
All right. This is all I remember is people
March
went
2000.
crazy over the PS2, right? I remember people were crazy about it. But when the Xbox came out, and like I said, that relationship I was in, I
And
remember the Xbox launched, right? It launched in November of 2001. And I guess the PS2 had been out, but I remember my girlfriend at the time, she told me, she goes, "Hey, there's an Xbox here at Best Buy. I wanted to get you one for Christmas, but there's also a PS2. Which one do you want?" And yeah, you know what? The
ooh,
PS2 had been out. And I remember I was like, oh shit, the Xbox is the new one. I didn't know what to get, but dude, I chose the Xbox. So that was the longest wait I ever had to wait, like from that November to Christmas, man.
damn.
Would you get yours, man?
I got like I said, my dad was a hardcore gamer back then. So we had it at launch. I remember waiting in that long ass line
Oh shit,
at
nice.
fucking Funko Land at River Oaks Mall.
Funko Land.
And bro, that line was long as hell. I remember he let me hold the receipt because it was so hype. I was like, oh, forget the Xbox, forget the Xbox. And then we got into the store. I handed the dude the receipt, and then fucking uh the dude was like, all right, I'm gonna go get your order. He comes out with the big ass box, another big ass Duke, Halo, DOA 3, bro.
Dude, I think everyone had to get Halo with that. And before
You
I
had
get
to have
talking
Halo.
about Halo, dude, I want to talk about the aesthetics of your first impressions of opening it, of the system and the controller. What did you think,
Hold on.
I
man?
Let me interrupt real fast. So for me, when because y'all both talked about it when y'all first learned about it, I learned about it when this is via through the wrestling. Because remember when they showed it off for the first time at the conference, The Rock was the
Oh yeah.
guy to show it off. So that's how eventually I learned of it at the time due to the situations that I was going through. So everything, the games, Halo was a new thing. I wasn't really into shooters like that back then. And even though on PS2 I was playing, what is it, Battlefield? That was the game I think it was, or Battlefronts, or whatever the. But yeah, for me, it would have been around that time when The Rock and all them did that conference. I seen it on TV, the conference, or on the internet with that was barely in its infancy too. Yeah, so yeah, the
Yeah.
games.
I honestly didn't see that conference till years later, like but it is something to go back to and watch, and I may have seen pictures of it. I don't remember. My memory is actually getting the Xbox and opening that thing on Christmas. Or I may have, you know what, dude? I think this is what happened. I actually got to open it before Christmas because the excitement I had for it. I think my girlfriend at the time was all like, just open it. And then what I remember seeing was the look of the console was amazing. Everything I wanted, but the controller was so different than anything because controllers weren't, there wasn't really a standard controller that was really good besides the PlayStation. I remember coming from
yeah.
Dreamcast and that controller was, dude, the way the buttons were, the way the colors are like the transparent colors, and the Duke controller, which we didn't know was called the Duke
Oh
back then.
man.
I didn't care how it felt. To me, it felt just new. And it felt so good, dude. And the buttons, I cannot get over how they felt. I was trying to get used to playing it. And I remember I kept, I would press the wrong button a few times. I wasn't too hardcore, but damn, dude, the
Yeah.
aesthetics was
The
just
only thing that threw me
amazing.
off, I think the only thing that threw me off with the original Duke was the white and black buttons.
Still to this
That
day, it throws me off.
yeah, that threw me off for sure. I was like, okay, what the hell? And I was a kid, so like I'm like, man, I gotta press this button all the way at the top of the controller, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I couldn't. I don't know. When I first booted up the system, like hearing the way it started up,
Yeah.
man, and hearing, I don't know if you guys ever did it, but like just hearing like the
Oh,
OG
we heard it.
dashboard where it's just like making all these weird noises and like
Dude,
it was
there's
so futuristic. It was just like, what is
to this
this?
day, that's one of my favorite startups. It probably is my favorite, the OG Xbox. I know Damien over here is an Xbox hater, and
No, I'm
his
not
high
really.
PlayStation.
Come on.
But
He
well,
likes those
Damien, what's
loading
your favorite
times.
startup?
My favorite startup, Saturn.
Oh,
Saturn's a nice
Saturn's
one.
Saturn,
great.
Saturn,
Saturn's
and Saturn and Dreamcast. Remember, I'm a Sega guy too, so
me too.
Saturn, Dreamcast,
You
even
should love
Master.
Xbox.
Dude, that's what was
No,
so cool about
the thing,
Xbox.
like I said, like I told OTG earlier, I was in that transition because, well, you got to look at it. Sega went out the door. Sega died. What, I don't remember what year it was after the Dreamcast. Right there, and then we got this newcomer. I was doing my thing, wasn't really into video games. I was like, I'll wait, and never ended up in the fuck. I never ended up getting one brand new. I ended up getting one used. Still have my PS2. Got my PS2 at the time. Around the same time. I just wasn't. I was a dad. Didn't have cash like that, and
Yeah.
I had to pick a system, and I stayed with Sony. But it was always in the back of my mind to end up getting one. And I ended up getting one later on
All right.
used.
All right. So when I got the Xbox, one of the things that was cool back then was that it was a DVD player. Whether you got PS2 or Xbox, it was a DVD player. But what made Xbox different, and I didn't even care at the time, it just didn't bother me because I love the system so much, is that they nickeled and dimed you, where you had to buy the remote with the receiver in order for
Yep.
that, in order for the DVDs to work. Do you remember that?
They all
Yeah,
did
I
that.
remember that. I had that at launch too.
PlayStation did. You could use the controller. You didn't have
Yeah,
to.
you could use the controller. Yeah, yeah,
You didn't have to buy the remote for it to work.
yeah.
And DVDs were cool
Forgot.
at the time, and I think that's how a lot of guys were able to get a system. They're like, "Hey, it's a DVD player, also."
Yeah, that was a seller. That was definitely a selling point back then.
Yeah, and
Dude.
the two games that I got were Project Gotham Racing and Halo. I mean, Project Gotham Racing, I hardly remember it. It was cool, but Halo is where it was at, dude. Like, that was the Xbox, dude. You turn it on, you're Master Chief. You're like
Oh,
in this armor, first person. You start off, you come out and you're like you're escaping a ship, dude.
yeah, dude.
And that whole sequence was so fucking awesome. To you land on the whatever planet, sorry, with the halo. I don't know what planet that is. With the ring, and it was just so cool, dude. I was like, oh fuck. Like, I got so sucked into the story, and man, dude, that changed everything for me, at least. That first person shooter, playing Halo for the first time, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I wasn't even really. I was into Unreal Tournament and I was into Doom, but Halo was like a different breed because those were like these fast-paced arena. Well, not Doom, but Unreal Tournament was a fast-paced arena shooter. Then Doom was the classic Doom, and then I played GoldenEye growing up. That was a banger. But then when Halo came out, that really blew my mind. That was the one game that I'll never forget. Like you said, stepping out to the planet, and you just like looked up and you seen like ships flying around. It was
Yeah.
like you were in a real like world, and you're like, holy hell,
Dude, and
this
having
is
Cortana
tight.
next to you, it was just like something, the
Right? You had
story.
ah,
It was like,
and then like
dude, that made me love the Xbox more than anything, because they promoted the shit out of that game. They hyped it up, and it was worth the hype. And I remember everyone talking about Halo. Now, one thing they missed out on, which was online for Halo 1, right? It was only like you could only do that with LAN, right? Was that correct?
yeah, but yes,
But
yeah,
that's
it was
what
only
made
system
it,
link.
the LAN parties.
But that's what ignited because I played LAN on Doom back in the day,
Yeah.
right? And it was fun, but it was different because you had to have PCs, you had to have your monitors, you had to have all this shit, right? It was just a lot. It was a lot more. Your keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
But back then, just to have a bunch of TVs and an Xbox with a controller, plus on one TV you could have 4 players.
Yes,
So it
dude.
was like, oh, dude,
I remember
that
playing like with
really,
people that would come
oh,
over, and we would just play like the multiplayer. And it wasn't until years later that I really got into like LAN parties, because, dude, LAN parties lasted forever, even after the
LAN
life of the
parties.
Xbox. So I
Yeah,
kind
no,
of got
LAN
into it
parties for
late.
me. I was doing LANs even till the end of the 360 era for the most part.
Yeah, yeah.
I I
Me
was doing
too.
LANs for Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Reach, Rainbow Six Vegas, all those games, Unreal Championship, dude. So yeah, that really to me it really ignited the LAN scope of things. Like even though PC players have been doing it, we all know they've been doing it, but it's different because the console market at the time it's I don't know, to me it was bigger. I don't know for I was a kid, so I don't know for sure like the statistics of PC gaming being really big, but I just know when Xbox and LAN happened, it was over for me. Like I love PS2,
Yeah.
but dude, it was hard for me to go play. Like I had only played bangers on PS2. Like you couldn't bring me no weak shit. I was like, nah, bro. I have an Xbox. If I'm gonna play some game that exists on both systems, I'm gonna play it on Xbox.
And that's one
Don't do
thing I
this
got to
shit.
mention where Xbox was ahead of PlayStation, ahead of everyone. They were doing things that people weren't doing. Yes, the Dreamcast was the first console to go online. The PS2 went
I
online,
mean,
but
it,
Xbox
the
Live,
Dreamcast wasn't the first. Saturn had online. I mean,
or did
if you want to
Saturn have
count X
online?
Band, yeah, Saturn
Yeah,
had Netlink. Yeah.
but Xbox Live changed the game forever,
Oh,
dude. Like,
bro.
I don't know if you had this experience, but me and my friends, dude, would get on like 2K and we would play the shit out of it. Like I played a lot of
Yeah.
sports games back then.
Okay.
And that's like
I,
all I remember playing, man.
now my first online, I remember my dad came home with the starter kit where it had the big box. It came with the Xbox Live communication puck. You put in your controller. Then it had the
Mhm.
headset. Then it came with a copy of Unreal Championship inside the box, and that was like my first Xbox Live experience was Unreal Championship. And I remember being scared to talk on the mic. Like I was just like, "Hello," and then you just hear people, "What up?" Just this fucking sweaty ass game that I didn't know people
Where are
were
you
already good
from?
at. Oh man,
Yeah, dude. It was ahead of its time, Xbox Live. I don't remember if you paid $5 a month. I don't remember how much it was.
it was $50 a year.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's the only way my pops used to get it. He used to pay for the whole year. And
Yeah.
then, but see, they were real lenient back then because they used to give you 2 to 3 month trials inside the cases.
In the
Yeah,
And
yeah.
magazines, the demo magazines.
and demo magazines.
Oh,
Actually,
dude,
I wanted to
Xbox had
bring
their
up
own magazine. I remember my friend
Yeah.
used
the
to be subscribed to
exhibition.
it.
That
And
the
we would
Xbox
call
exhibition
magazine.
them
was
you and your bias magazine. Now, there was before I get into the titles, I want to talk about a feature that was cool on the Xbox, even though PS1 people did play their music, but the music player on Xbox, if I remember it correctly, couldn't you rip music into the system?
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
yes,
It was just different,
and you were
man.
able to,
And
and
you
if
you
the
could
game
play
had
that
the
music
feature,
you could play that music while playing the game.
yeah, if it had it, the custom soundtrack feature on there, you were able to play your music in the game that you
Yep.
ripped from your console. No
Now,
disc, none of
like,
that.
what were there any other systems after that let you do that?
Okay, the
Besides,
PlayStation 1 actually had a couple of games that could do that.
Nah, dude, that was
Uh,
ghetto. That Ridge Racer shit was ghetto. Where you had to load the level up, then eject the disc, and they put your disc in. Like that. That's ghetto. I'm not counting
come
that.
on
That
now,
doesn't
come on,
count.
we can't be ghetto. What the fuck, bro?
this
No,
dude,
no,
this dude's
no.
just hating, man. And
I'm
That
not
was some
hating.
I
I'm
do
fucking with
PlayStation 1.
remember
y'all.
a lot of my friends that were like Damien, they were haters. People would always, when they wanted to make fun of Xbox, they would make fun of the controller. They'd be like, dude, you with that big old
Well, okay,
controller.
wait. You want to talk about the controller? I hate to tell y'all that D-pad sucks.
It does. But
It
It does.
does. It's horrible. That's the worst D-pad ever. That's
I'm
the only
telling
thing
you,
bad about that controller. Even with the 360 version of it, it's horrible.
yes, that has a trash D-pad too. But you know what? I still love those controllers because of what they were at the time. Now
Fucking monster hands.
I wasn't really, I did understand that it was a big controller, but it didn't bother me, man. To this day, I still love the Duke. Do I prefer play on it? No, but there's nostalgia for the Duke. I even bought the Hyperkin Duke controller. The Duke is nothing but love, man. I love that controller.
Duke is a comfortable controller. Like I said, the only bad thing about the Duke is not even the D-pad to me. It's the white and black button placement.
Yeah.
So the
Which they
bottom, ain't
later
it?
fixed with the controller S.
Now,
You
I
you
don't
play
know
it
the
with
bottom?
story with the controller S, if it was because they were trying to get sales in Japan or something I may have heard, but I remember when they came out with the S controller and then people were like trying to tell PlayStation fanboys to shut up. We got a badass controller now. And it was nice,
was
dude.
way better. It was way better. It was.
Yeah, the S
was-
controller had the buttons below the original four button layout.
Me
Right? It was on. They were on top, right?
Yeah, me personally, I think on top they were kind of weird, but when they were below, they're still weird to me. I still miss the inputs. Now, I'm not sure if you guys played with third-party controllers, but back in the day, GameStop had their own third-party controller.
I had the
and they
Mad
actually
Catz
put
one.
the
Well,
black
that's
and
the
white
controller
buttons as bumpers.
That's the controller I took a picture of the other day, and I put it in our group of an S controller. The one I just recently picked up. Yeah, that's an S controller.
Yeah, I know. I have plenty of S controllers here, man. You saw my collection.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I know.
and they look real pretty, dude. Yeah,
Fucking
the S
10-gallon
controller
drum.
was a game changer. I remember my friend, the guy I would play 2K with, which he's probably listening to this. He was all up on the S controller, and that was his defense if anyone made fun of Xbox. But man,
Dude, I was hardcore. I had the S controller. I don't know if you guys ever had the extension cords for the controller where you can extend
yeah, I
how
had
long.
that.
Oh, dude, I don't know why we used to play so far away back then, but
That's
I
what we
used to
did.
use that shit.
Well, you gotta
I
remember
used
the
to be
TV
far
back
as
then was
fuck.
for like
Yeah. Shit,
all
tube
the and we
TV.
set
I had
far for the
I had a
TV 'cause
32-inch tube TV.
yeah, we got brought up if you sit too close to the TV, it's bad for you. But at the arcade, we're
Yeah.
like right on it, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Back
Yeah.
in the day, it was like you got 20 minutes to be playing on that damn TV because video games ruined the goddamn TV. I was like,
oh yeah, video games ruined the
Video
TV.
games ruined the TV.
I remember. I forgot about that one. That was one.
I
It
forgot. I
ruined
haven't
the
heard that in a
TV.
long time. Yeah.
Oh man.
then the TV came out with video game mode. It was like, look, it's got its own mode, mom. You don't have to worry about that no more. No, get off the goddamn TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
forget.
remember during that time though, I used to go out and party and I used to drink and come back drunk to my apartment. And the Xbox had already been out a while, but dude, I would get right on Rainbow Six and man, dude, the 2K times, good times, dude. I just can't forget about those times, man.
And you know
we
the crazy part?
we have to give Xbox's flowers. We know they're not that good right now, but dude, OG Xbox was
And
literally
for the time, it was what, 5 years? The console only was around for 5 years before the 360 came out.
Shit, was it
All
five?
those
I thought it was
titles-
like 4.
It was
So
from
it's six.
2001
It was
to
like six.
2006. So that's 5
Oh.
years, basically.
oh, so okay.
Yeah. So you look at the titles; they were putting out so many damn titles, and then they just jumped ship to a new console and then transferred those titles because then some of the original Xbox titles get a remastered on the 360
You
for
know what?
launch. Like,
Dude,
It
barely,
did come out in
barely.
2005, like I thought it did. The Xbox 360 right here, it says November 2005. Is that correct?
yeah,
That sounds about right.
And
it was
so that's actually 4 years, right?
4 years.
So
'Cause,
Damn,
it says it was
4
discontinued
years?
in
Damn.
yeah, but before we're not talking about 360 right now because that
No,
was
we're talking about the
elite.
original Xbox. That's the thing is, what I was making the statement is they put out so many banger titles within a short time period. It was like, wow,
Yeah, the games
Nobody was doing it
the
like
games didn't have time to cook. I agree. They
Yeah.
didn't.
they didn't. Then that's what I'm saying. I think they ended up putting out some of those titles in I forgot what they called their collections back then on 360. Later on, when the 360 ended up dropping,
Platinum
for the-
hits, or I don't know what they
yeah,
called them.
platinum,
Dude.
yeah. Anyways, go back to it.
All right, so one thing that I remember during the time that was a huge game that I was like, oh my, because everyone would talk about it at my job was Grand Theft Auto, man. And this this is when Grand Theft Auto went 3D. So PlayStation 2 was the way to go at that time, and it wasn't out on Xbox. And I remember that was a time that I actually traded in my Xbox and got a PS2, man.
Ooh, I mean, I get it though. GTA 3 was huge. Like we gotta admit,
And my friend,
GTA
Yes, that is the Xbox lover that might be listening to this was fucking like disgusted that I did that, man.
Yeah, you were a scumbag because you didn't want to wait till 2003 to play it.
Yeah, and little did I know it did come out, and I ended up there was no reason to have a PlayStation 2, so I went back and I did get the Xbox back again. And but yeah, dude, Grand Theft Auto, when it finally hit the Xbox, I was content. That was the only thing it was missing, man. And weren't they?
You got to remember GTA 3. Look, I don't think you remember this. I remember this very, very greatly because I had a PS2 and then the Xbox, right? GTA 3 came out a month before Xbox dropped.
All right.
So,
yeah.
So you got to imagine back then, you were playing. Nobody, to be honest, if you didn't know about Halo, nobody was buying an Xbox because they had fucking GTA 3. That was a huge game. Like everybody, that was Fortnite back in the day. Everybody was talking about GTA 3.
Yes.
Everybody talked about GTA 3, and then
that was the hugest game.
That was the biggest game. It didn't hit Xbox till 2003. Like that's a long time to have to wait for a port. So I get it that you traded that shit in because you were missing out.
Yeah,
that
FOMO
was real.
What people were talking
you were missing
about.
out on a classic at the time.
Yeah,
so I get it, but
that
luckily,
GTA 3 was a big deal because the GTA.
I don't even remember how many times I beat Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah, because when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, and I remember when people were like, "Oh, have you played the new Grand Theft Auto?" I'm like, I didn't care because the ones on PlayStation, the first PlayStation, people would talk about it. I'm like, whatever. And then when I saw what it was, and they were like, no, it's like you're real. But anyways, I don't want to get sidetracked too much. I want to continue this thing that Xbox games actually looked better. A lot of these ports. Do you remember that? Like it was superior. I think a lot of the versions, at least that's how I remember it.
Let me know when you're ready to cook the PlayStation ports. I'm ready, bro.
Cook, dude. Go ahead.
I had so many PlayStation fanboy friends. And like I said, LAN parties were a thing. We would have 2 TVs side by side. And I would literally load. At the time, it was Madden 02. I think Madden 03. Because that was a huge game, Madden 03. And I remember everyone was like, PlayStation. I'm like, bro, PlayStation's trash, yo. I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, pop that shit in. And we popped in the play. And I'd give the PlayStation a head start, bro. Like, I'll let it boot up, do all that crazy shit, and spin around in space, and then let the game go, whoop, and then load the game. Then I'll turn on the Xbox. And it still would outload the PS2. Then I was like, wait, but there's more. Let's save the game. I'll save the game. On Xbox, you press A, it would literally instantly save. Like you press A, it doesn't say now checking for memory card, PS2, all that shit. Then it says now saving for PS2, save complete. No, on Xbox, you press A, it goes right to that hard drive. No memory card needed.
That was a big thing. I would just
drop the mic and walk away. Like, see, it's just trash. Then it looked better. It looked and performed better. On top of that,
remember that was
another game was Max Payne.
Yeah, it had a hard drive, like what you're mentioning right now, and it made sure that you had to know that it had a hard drive. It would say it had so many thousand blocks free.
Yeah. So you have 300,000 blocks. I'm like, bro, what is that?
8 to 10 gigs. It was 8 to 10 gig hard drive.
I think it first came out with 8, but most people got later where it went up to 10, if I remember that correctly. But you never used that because we didn't do back then. Games were just on a disc. How small were the saves?
700 megabytes.
Yeah, it was, dude. No one.
Oh, the DVD was it DVD?
There was no digital
was the format on
saving back then.
Was the format DVD on original Xbox?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was. It was originally DVD.
Yeah.
Huh. Yep. Okay. Yeah. DVD, CD.
Yeah. So. Yeah, dude, the ports, I remember, like, it was always an argument, but Xbox was always better. The magazines and stuff like that. And I was always bragging to my PlayStation friends, man. That was a huge thing. And there were games on PlayStation, I get it. God of War was one of them that I really enjoyed. And there's a lot of great games. PS2 is one of the best consoles ever. If not, it is the number one selling, right? Am I correct on that? I might be wrong, but it's up there. But Xbox for me, it's the love, dude. It just was something different to this day. It was, I think, way more ahead of its time. It was more like a PC. And once the modding scene hit, and I actually
Oh,
got to see the insides that it really used an IDE cable. It used the
that
hard
big ass
drive.
IDE cable ribbon. Yeah, that shit was like
It was like
what?
so much like a PC. And let's talk briefly about the modding scene. Do you remember the modding scene back then?
I remember when Evo X first dropped, where
Yeah,
you had to put the mod chip in there, and I remember, dude, I remember watching this on TV. First of all, let's
yeah.
just talk about how that shit was on TV. We were talking about modding on fucking TV, and they were showing you how you could go online where you had to flip the switch in the back of your Xbox to trick the Xbox so you could get online
What
and
was that
flip it
on?
off when you, dude.
It was
Oh
so
man, it
different.
was
Remember
Was
there was a mod
was
that
it
had
on?
like a little LCD display and shit, and it,
Was it?
it was
yeah.
it was different, dude. And
Wasn't that on an MTV show?
I remember it was something like that. It was either
MTV or
G4 or MTV. I don't remember where, but I remember watching it was on TV, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
mod
yeah.
chip is out." Because I was into modding
yeah.
as a young kid, because that's how my dad used to put me on. Like I didn't know. Like I remember he'll take me to this place called Swaparama, and you'll go there, and a dude he would take his PlayStation. I'm like, "Why are you taking the PlayStation? Like the PS1?" He'll take it, drop it off for like 30 minutes, come back and pick it up. He hands him the system and a black bag full of discs. And I got like every fucking hot banger PS1 game on there. I was like, dang, that's tight. Same with the Dreamcast. Well, Dreamcast, it was just burnt disc, but
Yeah.
same with that. So like I was always into that modding scene. I even remember playing on Super Nintendo. There was this thing that you could boot ROMs on a floppy disk drive on the Super Nintendo. I
Oh
remember
wow.
what, dude. I don't know if you guys ever seen that shit. You
I've never
put the
seen it.
little. Oh man. Well, I've been in that scene. Like I grew up in that scene, like of just modding
Yeah.
for on
I
illegal
get,
shit.
I get, I get,
So,
I get called a pirate all the time by my son. He's like, "You're pirating games, Dad," and I was like,
oh,
"Only
dude,
way to go."
yeah, I grew
Yeah.
up pirating games.
Dude, come on, we grew up doing that. The PSP, I think, was one of the systems that was like super easy.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
when I
was
made
doing
my
it.
first what was that? What you call the Pandora's battery? Oh, I thought I was a genius.
I
Where you
still
had
got my,
I
I still got my original PSP hacking DVD CD-ROMs for my PC.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah,
what? I remember back to the Xbox. I remember modding it. It might have been years later. I did it with Unleash X, and I remember, dude, putting a lot of the arcade games. That was one of the first times I remember getting like a compilation full of arcade games, and it just felt like it was like that's the thing. A lot of people put so much love into the mod scene that it just works great. Everything works perfect for you. And even though it
yeah,
is kind of weird to get into it, Xbox has its own little way the hard drive has the partitions and where you got to put
yeah.
things. And it was a weird mod because it was a soft mod I'm talking about where you had to do the little swap from the DVD drive to your own hard drive. I don't remember how it went, man. But it
I
just
remember those
was
partitions.
so cool, man, because I remember everyone was modding Xboxes. It was the thing to do, man, and it was to this day I think pretty damn awesome. Like I got a modded Xbox I did years ago, and it's still kicky, man. It's still great. But
Man,
yeah, Damien
dude,
over here don't know anything about that.
oh
yeah,
come
Damon,
on now.
you definitely missed out.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that
like I
whole
said, man,
scene.
I wasn't into it. I had responsibilities, man, and like I said, later on down the line, I ended up getting one used, and I got to experience it later on. I think 360 was already out, and I wasn't really into 360. I was still, doing the whole PS2 and then PS3, and
Yeah,
the handheld market was the PSP and stuff like that. So the original Xbox, I have really, I would, I'm a rookie, like
you,
really a rookie on it.
yeah, you would be freaked out to this day. There's still people putting out new stuff, man. There's a guys over there at Project Stellar doing a mod chip. I mean, right now they're doing stuff with the Pico on it. It's still kicking to this day, and that's why me and Gali had this conversation that Xbox, the original Xbox, is God tier, man.
It's got tier,
God
and
I,
tier.
I
we
agree
need
that
to recognize Xbox.
it's up there, and that's why I recently picked up. How many have I gotten? Three now. I got one the other day. I gave one to OTG. He got a special one for himself
You're
that I
talking about
found
the
on the cheap.
360s, right?
No, I'm talking about the Halo
Oh, the
edition
OG,
Xbox.
yeah, the one I yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I got him a Halo edition one, and I got me another Xbox. So I'm gonna jump into the modding scene with it and get to experience the system because I didn't get to experience it back then when it first came out. Had to be a parent first.
Yeah, even though all right, I'm just gonna briefly, maybe we'll do another episode on 360 because we got a lot of stuff to say. It was a jump, a very big jump. I think the biggest jump I remember, besides Nintendo Super Nintendo. Well, actually, this one might have been bigger because it was the HD. But there's something special about the original Xbox that, man, it's just the modding scene, the love, the games, everything, dude. It's just, man, I can't, dude. I'm shilling for it right now, man. Like,
no, it's not even a shill, bro. Like it needs to be recognized, and I think we're like this because it's not
You're
recognized.
oozing machismo Xbox.
No, but
Anyway,
hey, real quick,
before we get on, y'all get on. I gotta go. It's
All right.
8:45. I got a date with
All right.
Deadpool Wolverine.
All right, we're about to end it, but yeah, you go ahead and go,
Yeah.
Damien. Thank you
Yeah,
for
man,
being here. Thank you for.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm always here. Xbox, I get to experience now, doing a lot of things here and there with the Xbox.
we'll take care of you. We'll make sure you
Yeah,
enjoy
see, y'all
this
talk mad
right.
shit about me. I know how it is, but it is, that's the way it is. It is what it is at the end of the day, and I'm out, y'all.
Laters, dude.
All right.
All right, Golly. Any last things you want to say about the OG Xbox? Because we don't have Damien here. We could say what we want to say.
So I don't want to carry it on too long because we really wanted to cover launch with this episode and our beginnings of diving into this Xbox. But I do want to say, on as far as Endgame, shout out to the guys over at Insignia that revived Xbox Live
Online, yeah.
I have content on my channel that shows Insignia gameplay, and I will continue to stream this because it's amazing how they pretty much reverse engineered Xbox Live and got it to run. And yeah, just mod your shit and
all right. Well, I appreciate your words, Golly. And dude, it's just been cool the last few weeks. We have our private chats and you're listening to us and talking back about Xbox. We've been going crazy about Xbox. The nostalgia's hitting me. The green, I've been into it. I'm currently trying to mess with Project Stellar. There's crazy stuff they've done, like HDMI mods, which I ordered it. I'm gonna attempt that too. And it's just all the love that I've been noticing that it's still out there, dude. The original Xbox has a lot of love, and I wanted to make a quick little, a little episode here, just showing love to that system that is God tier and still living in 2024.
Yes.
But anyways, I will leave a link to Golly's channel so you guys can check him out. I'll leave a link to Damien's channel so you can check him out. And let us know if you want us to talk 360 because, man, that's another system that is God tier. Yes, the old Xbox, man. Retro Xbox, dude. I don't know what happened to them, but damn, the old systems.
I don't care what you old fucks say. Xbox is retro.
All right, man. Peace out. Later.
All right, later.